The BMW was new. I noticed it the moment Monica pulled into my driveway that Thanksgiving morning. Metallic silver, the kind that catches light like a knife blade. She'd been driving a 10-year-old Honda last month, complaining about the transmission. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching from. We'd love to know how far our stories are going. Greg got out first, his wrist catching the November sun. The watch gleamed, rose gold, probably $50,000 if it was real. More than I'd made in a year when I was still working as a comptroller for Henderson Manufacturing. Caroline. Monica never called me Mom anymore. Started about 6 months ago, right around the time she stopped asking how I was doing and started asking how I was managing. I wiped my hands on my apron. The turkey was almost ready. I'd been cooking since 5 in the morning, the way I always did. Robert used to say my stuffing could bring peace to the Middle East. 7 years he'd been gone, but I still made it his way. Sage, not rosemary. He hated rosemary. The house smells wonderful. Tanya came up behind them, Barry trailing with a store-bought pie. My sister looked different. New highlights, expensive ones. Her coat was cashmere. I recognized the label from the department store window downtown. Jessica was last. 16 years old, my only grandchild, and she wouldn't look at me. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying in the car. When I reached to hug her, Monica's hand shot out and grabbed Jessica's elbow. "We need her help setting the table," Monica said. "Not a request." Dinner was tense. Dinner was. I'd set out the good china, the Wedgwood that Robert's mother left us. Greg cut the turkey like he owned the place, standing at the head of my table. Monica kept checking her phone, that new kind that cost $1,000. "So, Caroline." Tanya set down her wine glass, her third. "Monica and I have been talking." "About what?" "About you. About your situation." My situation. I was 66 years old, in perfect health, living in the house I'd owned for 38 years. I paid my bills on time. I volunteered at the library. I had $430,000 in investments that Robert and I had saved for 30 years. Plus the house, worth $380,000. What situation? Monica reached into her designer purse, also new, and pulled out a glossy brochure. She slid it across the table like it was a dessert menu. Meadowbrook Senior Living Community, I read aloud. The cover showed smiling elderly people playing checkers. Inside were photos of small rooms with industrial carpet and fluorescent lights. High-security memory care unit, starting at $6,000 monthly. "It's a wonderful facility," Monica said. Her voice had that bright, false cheerfulness people use with children and senile relatives. "They have activities, game nights, a courtyard." "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you need it, Caroline." Tanya leaned forward. Her breath smelled like Chardonnay and something else. Desperation, maybe. "You're getting forgetful. Last month you called me 3 times asking what day it was." That was a lie. I'd called once, asking what day she was coming to visit, because she'd changed the date twice. "I'm not forgetful. See?" Monica looked at Greg, then Tanya, that look I recognized from her teenage years, when she'd team up with friends against substitute teachers. Denial is a classic symptom. I'm not in denial because there's nothing to deny. "Mom, Caroline," Monica corrected herself, catching Tanya's warning glance. "We've made arrangements. Greg and I have power of attorney. We've already started the process of transferring your accounts to a managed care fund. For your protection." The room went cold. Not temperature cold. Something else. "What accounts?" "All of them. The investment portfolio, the savings, everything. And we've been in touch with a real estate attorney about the house. This place is too much for you to manage." I looked at Jessica. She was crying silently, tears running down her face into her untouched mashed potatoes. When she caught my eye, she started to stand up. Monica yanked her back down, hard. The chair legs scraped against my oak floor. "Stay seated," Monica hissed. "You're hurting her," I said. "I'm her mother. I know what's best for her." Monica turned back to me. "Just like I know what's best for you. Meadowbrook has an opening in January. We've already paid the deposit, $5,000. With my money, I thought. With the power of attorney I'd signed 2 years ago when Monica convinced me it was just for emergencies, Mom, in case something happens and you can't make decisions. I should have been panicking, should have been crying or arguing or begging. That's what they expected. I could see it in Monica's eyes, in the way Greg leaned back with his arms crossed, in how Tanya gripped her wine glass. Instead, I stood up, slowly, picked up the carving knife, carved another slice of turkey. More turkey, anyone? I placed a thick slice on Greg's plate. You look like you've been eating well. That watch must have worked up an appetite. Greg's face went red. It was a gift. From whom? Silence. I served Monica next. And you, dear. Business must be booming. New car, new phone, new coat. All those commissions from real estate must be rolling in. I knew for a fact Monica hadn't closed a sale in 4 months. I'd checked. Caroline, Tanya started. Tanya. I gave her the same pleasant smile. Your hair looks lovely. That salon on Market Street, isn't it? The one that charges $300 per appointment? I remember when you said you could never afford to go there. I sat back down, picked up my fork. The turkey was perfect, moist and seasoned exactly right. Robert would have been proud. Here's what's interesting, I said, keeping my voice calm, conversational. You came to my house. You ate my food. You brought me a brochure about a nursing home like it was a Thanksgiving gift. You told me you've been accessing my accounts and selling my house. And you did it all with such confidence. Because we have legal authority, Monica snapped. Had, I said. She blinked. What? Had authority. Past tense. I took a bite of turkey, chewed slowly, swallowed. 3 weeks ago, I revoked that power of attorney. Had it notarized by Spencer Walsh. You remember him, don't you, Monica? He's the attorney who sued the hospital after your father died of their negligence. Won us $450,000. He's been our family lawyer for 20 years. The color drained from Monica's face. Spencer helped me file new documents. Your power of attorney was terminated on November 3rd. 2 full weeks before you started. Well, whatever it is you started. Greg leaned forward. You're bluffing. Am I? I smiled. That's an interesting theory. Here's another coincidence. I spoke with Walter Harrison at First National Bank last Tuesday. Asked him to keep detailed records of any attempts to access my accounts using that old power of attorney. For documentation purposes. Legal purposes, you might say. Monica's hand was shaking. You can't. I also had an interesting conversation with the district attorney's office. Just hypothetically, you understand. Asked what would happen if someone tried to use fraudulent power of attorney to access accounts. Apparently, it's called financial exploitation of an elderly person. Class 3 felony in Ohio. 3 to 5 years. You wouldn't, Tanya whispered. Wouldn't what? Wouldn't protect myself from people who want to put me in a $6,000 a month prison cell and steal everything my husband and I worked for? I set down my fork. You're right. I wouldn't, because I already did. Jessica was staring at me, not crying anymore. Her eyes were wide, almost hopeful. But here's the real coincidence, I continued. I have a surprise about power of attorney, too. Except mine isn't about taking. It's about giving. Or rather, about who I've decided should inherit what when I'm actually gone. And I promise you, it won't be anyone sitting at this table. Except maybe one person. I looked at Jessica. Monica grabbed her daughter's hand. We're leaving. Please do. I'll pack up leftovers for you. Though I'm not sure my food agrees with people who bite the hand that feeds them. They stood, all 3 of them. Greg threw his napkin on the table. Tanya couldn't meet my eyes. At the door, Monica turned back. This isn't over. You're absolutely right, I said. It's not. But then again, it never really started, did it? Because you never had what you thought you had. You just had a piece of paper that expired 2 weeks ago, along with any illusions I had about what kind of daughter you'd become. The BMW pulled out fast, tires squealing on my quiet street. Through the window, I could see Jessica's face pressed against the glass, looking back at my house. I cleared the table alone, wrapped the leftover turkey in foil. Robert's stuffing had turned cold. I threw it away. There was no one left to eat it. In the kitchen, I found them. Under the loose floorboard by the pantry, the place I'd hidden emergency cash for 40 years. The hiding spot only Robert knew about, or so I'd thought. $3,000 in hundreds. Gone. Monica had been in my house before Thanksgiving, looking, searching, taking. The violation felt worse than the theft. I sat on my kitchen floor for a long time, holding the empty metal box. The same floor where I'd taught Monica to tie her shoes, where Robert had kissed me on our 20th anniversary, where I'd cried when the hospital called. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ms. Ellsworth? This is Officer Dennison, County Sheriff's Office. I have a delivery notice for you. Court summons. Need someone home to sign? What kind of summons? Looks like a family competency hearing. December 8th. You've been formally notified. He showed up 20 minutes later. Young guy, maybe 30. Looked at me like I was already senile, already defeated. Good luck, ma'am, he said. Not kindly, like he'd already decided I was the problem. I closed the door, locked it, both locks and the chain. December 8th, 10 days away. They were moving faster than I'd expected, but then again, so was I. I found them in the trash, not my trash, Monica's. I'd driven to her rental house the Monday after Thanksgiving, knowing she'd be at the office. Greg worked late on Mondays. Jessica would be at school until 3:30. The house was in Fairlawn, one of those cookie-cutter developments where every yard has the same mulch and the HOA fines you for leaving your garbage cans out past 7 a.m. Monica paid $2,800 a month for 3 bedrooms she couldn't afford. I knew where she hid the spare key, under the third flower pot from the left, the one with the fake geraniums. Some habits don't change, even when people do. The house smelled like expensive candles trying to cover up something cheaper underneath. Unwashed dishes in the sink, mail piled on the counter, past due notices from credit card companies, a disconnection warning from the electric company. The trash can in Monica's home office was half full. I almost missed them. Crumpled papers. Dozens of them. All with my signature. Caroline Ellsworth. Caroline Ellsworth. Caroline Ellsworth. Over and over in Monica's handwriting, getting closer each time to my actual signature. The C starting with that little loop I'd picked up from my grandmother. The double L in Ellsworth slightly raised. The way the final H trailed off like an afterthought. She'd been practicing. For weeks, maybe months. And she'd done it with the Mont Blanc pen Robert gave me on our 25th anniversary. I'd thought I'd lost it. Apparently not. I photographed every piece of paper, 37 attempts at forgery, documented and dated by Monica herself in the margins. Try 12, too shaky. Try 23, better slant. Try 31, almost perfect. In the desk drawer, I found a manila folder. Inside, blank power of attorney forms from 3 different banks, applications for reverse mortgages, a brochure for Meadowbrook, but this one had notes in the margins. Cheapest option, no family visits, high security ward, can't leave. There was also a handwritten list on yellow legal paper. Timeline, Nov 24, Thanksgiving, present MB brochure, establish confusion. Nov 28, file competency petition. Dec 8, hearing, Judge Morrison, Greg's uncle. Dec 15, transfer all accounts. Jan 3, move C, E, to facility Jan 10. List house with Patterson Realty, Greg's brother. Feb 1. Demolition begins. Demolition. I sat in Monica's cheap office chair and read it again. They weren't planning to sell my house to a family. They were going to tear it down. My phone rang. Spencer Walsh. Caroline, we have a problem. What kind of problem? I just got served with a copy of the competency petition. It's extensive. Monica's claiming you've exhibited signs of dementia for 6 months. She has witness statements. From whom? Your sister Tanya. Your neighbor, apparently. Mrs. Chen from across the street. And someone named Father Douglas from St. Mary's. Father Douglas. I'd stopped going to St. Mary's 2 years ago after they hired that new priest who spent more time talking about donations than salvation. I hadn't spoken to him in months. They're all lying. I know that. You know that. But on paper, it looks compelling. Monica's also attached medical records. What medical records? I haven't seen a doctor since my annual physical in March. These are from Dr. Raymond Klein, geriatric specialist, dated September 15th. Says you came in complaining of memory loss, confusion, inability to manage daily tasks. I've never heard of Raymond Klein. That's what I thought. Spencer's voice went hard. I'm requesting an emergency injunction. But Caroline, we need more than a revoked power of attorney. We need proof that this is fraud, not concern. I have proof. I was still staring at Monica's practice signatures. I'm sending you photos right now. I spent 30 minutes photographing everything. The signatures, the timeline, the notes, the financial documents. There was more, too. Bank statements showing Monica's accounts had been overdrawn for months. Credit card statements with charges at luxury stores. Restaurants that cost more per meal than I spent on groceries in a month. And then I found it, hidden in the back of the filing cabinet, under folders labeled Insurance and Taxes, a contractor's proposal. Ellsworth Property, 342 Oakmont Drive, Akron, OH proposed demolition and new construction current structure. 3,200 SQFT Victorian, built 1904. Proposed structure, 8-unit luxury condominium complex. Estimated project cost, $890,000. Estimated sale value, $2. $4 million client. Farrell Development LLC. Farrell Development LLC. Monica and Greg's company. The one they'd incorporated last year, the one Monica said was just for tax purposes. They'd already hired architects. The drawings were attached. My house, the house where I'd raised Monica, where Robert died in our bedroom upstairs, where every room held 40 years of memories, reduced to a footprint on a demolition plan. In its place, 8 identical boxes with granite countertops and stainless steel appliances. Units starting at $300,000. They'd been planning this for over a year. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage so pure it felt like ice water in my veins. I heard a car door slam. I shoved everything back into the folders, put the drawer back exactly as I'd found it, and slipped out through the back door, made it to my car just as Greg's truck pulled into the driveway. He didn't see me, too busy talking on his phone, laughing about something. I drove home carefully, exactly the speed limit, signaled at every turn. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady. At home, I called Spencer back. I'm sending you more photos, construction proposals, architectural drawings, a shell company. And Spencer, I need you to request something specific at that hearing. What? A cognitive evaluation. Independent psychiatrist, not this Dr. Klein. I want them to test me. Memory, reasoning, everything. I want it on record that I'm completely competent. That's risky. If they find anything, they won't, because there's nothing to find. But Monica doesn't know that. She's so convinced I'm deteriorating that she'll never expect me to volunteer for testing. Spencer was quiet for a moment. That's brilliant. It flips the entire narrative. There's something else. I want you to subpoena Monica's financial records. All of them. Bank statements, credit cards, the works, and Greg's gambling records. How do you know about gambling? I don't. Not for sure. But that watch he was wearing at Thanksgiving cost $50,000. Monica hasn't sold a house in 4 months. They're paying $2,800 a month in rent, and they're behind on their electric bill. The math doesn't add up unless money's coming from somewhere it shouldn't. I'll file the subpoenas today. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd found the empty cash box, and opened my laptop. I wasn't good with computers, but Robert had taught me enough before he died. I created a new email account, sent copies of every photo to Spencer, to myself, to a cloud storage service Jessica had tried to explain to me once. 3 copies, 3 different places. Then I called the bank, not my regular branch, the corporate security division. This is Caroline Ellsworth, account number 47382194. I need to report attempted fraud. The security officer, a woman named Janet Pierce, listened carefully as I explained. The revoked power of attorney, the attempted access, Monica's practice signatures. Ms. Ellsworth, I'm going to be very direct with you. This is serious. We're going to flag your accounts immediately. But I also need to tell you, we've already logged 3 access attempts in the past week using documents claiming to be valid power of attorney. What did you tell them? That we needed to verify the documents. They got angry, threatening. The last attempt was this morning. This morning. While I was in Monica's house, she'd been at my bank trying to get my money. Can you provide me with recordings of those interactions? I can provide them to your attorney with proper authorization. You'll have it by end of business today. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept seeing those practice signatures. Monica sitting at her desk, maybe late at night after Jessica was asleep, carefully copying my handwriting. Trying to become me on paper so she could erase me in real life. I got up at 2 in the morning and went to Robert's study. I hadn't changed anything in 7 years. His books were still on the shelves. His reading glasses still on the desk. His favorite chair still positioned by the window. I sat in his chair and looked at the photo on the desk. Our wedding day. I was 23, he was 25. We'd had nothing but each other and a dream of building something that would last. It had lasted 42 years, until hospital negligence took him and Spencer sued them, and we won $450,000 that I'd added to our life savings, money Monica now wanted to steal. Money she thought she was entitled to because she'd been born. She's not going to win, I told Robert's photo. I promise you that. My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Stop fighting this. You're only making it harder on yourself. We're trying to help you. M. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back. Wrong number, but whoever M is, tell them Caroline Ellsworth says hello. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then nothing. I smiled in the dark. Let her wonder. Let her worry. Because December 8th was 9 days away, and I was just getting started. The message came at 7:30 on a Monday morning. Monica had created a group text, 23 people. I recognized most of the names. Neighbors, people from church, parents from Jessica's school, women I'd known for 30 years. Just wanted everyone to know that my mother Caroline is experiencing some cognitive difficulties. If she contacts you with strange requests or seems confused, please let me know immediately. We're working on getting her proper care. Thank you for your understanding during this difficult time. Monica. My phone started buzzing immediately. Oh, Monica, I'm so sorry. Sending prayers for your family. My aunt went through the same thing. So hard. Let me know if you need anything. Nobody texted me directly. Nobody called to ask if I was okay. They just accepted Monica's narrative like it was gospel truth. I sat at my kitchen table, watching the messages pile up, and felt something inside me go very still and very cold. By Tuesday, I understood what she'd done. I went to the library for my volunteer shift. I'd been reading to children every Tuesday morning for 12 years. Mrs. Patterson, the head librarian, met me at the door. Caroline. She wouldn't look me in the eye. I got a call from your daughter. Did you? She's concerned about you working with children, given your, situation. What situation is that? Mrs. Patterson shifted her weight. Behind her, I could see other staff members pretending not to watch. Your memory issues. Monica said you've been getting confused, forgetting things. She thought it might not be safe for you to... I don't have memory issues. I'm sure you don't think you do, but... She caught herself. Softened her voice the way you do with someone you've decided is fragile. Maybe it's best if you take some time off, just until things are more stable. I left without arguing. What was the point? At the grocery store, Karen Chen from across the street saw me in the produce section and literally turned her cart around to avoid me. I'd known Karen for 18 years. We'd watched each other's houses during vacations. She'd come to Robert's funeral. Now she acted like I had something contagious. I caught up with her by the frozen foods. Karen. She jumped. Oh. Caroline. Hi. Did Monica call you? I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. What did she tell you? Karen looked miserable, guilty. She said you've been having episodes, that you accused her of stealing from you, that you've been paranoid and aggressive. And you believed her. I gave a statement to her lawyer about how you seemed confused lately. How I'd seen you checking your mailbox multiple times a day, like you'd forgotten you already checked it. I check my mail once a day, at 3 p.m., same time for 40 years. Karen, I'm not confused. Monica is trying to have me declared incompetent so she can steal my house and my money. The way Karen looked at me, with pity and fear and discomfort, told me everything I needed to know. She'd already decided I was the problem. I hope you get the help you need, she said quietly, and walked away. By Wednesday, I'd stopped trying to explain myself. Father Douglas from St. Mary's called. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail saying he was praying for me and that Monica had spoken to him about my declining health. He hoped I would accept God's plan gracefully. My doctor's office called to confirm an appointment I hadn't made with Dr. Raymond Klein, the geriatric specialist whose name was on those fake medical records. I don't have an appointment with Dr. Klein. But your daughter called and my daughter doesn't make my medical appointments. The receptionist paused. I see. Well, if you change your mind, Dr. Klein specializes in memory care and… I hung up. That afternoon, I tried calling Jessica, straight to voicemail. I tried 3 more times. Same thing. Finally, I texted, "Are you okay?" 2 hours later, Mom says I can't talk to you until after the hearing. She says you're not well and you might say things that will upset me. I'm sorry, Grandma. I sat in my living room and looked at that message for a long time. Jessica was apologizing to me for being kept away from me by her own mother. I wanted to scream. I wanted to drive to Monica's house and break down the door and take my granddaughter somewhere safe. Instead, I went to Robert's study and cried for the first time since Thanksgiving. Not because I was sad, because I was so angry I couldn't see straight, and crying was the only thing that kept me from doing something I'd regret. Thursday morning, I received the official notice. Family competency hearing, Cuyahoga County Probate Court Petitioner, Monica Farrell. Respondent, Caroline Ellsworth. Date, December 8, 2024, 9:01 a.m. Presiding, Honorable Dale Morrison. Dale Morrison, Greg's uncle. Monica had mentioned him once at a family dinner 2 years ago, bragging about Greg's connections in the court system. They'd planned everything. The judge, the witnesses, the fake medical records. They'd built a cage made of lies and were just waiting to lock me inside. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about that message from Jessica, about Karen Chen turning her cart around, about Mrs. Patterson's pitying voice. Monica had poisoned my entire life in less than a week. I got out of bed at midnight and went to the basement. I hadn't been down there in months. It smelled like old cardboard and concrete and time. Robert's workshop was in the back corner. His tools still hung on pegboards, organized by size. His workbench was covered in sawdust that had been there for 7 years. I ran my hand along the smooth wood surface. He'd built this bench himself, the year we bought the house. Built it to last forever. That's when I saw it. Under the workbench, partially hidden by a paint-stained tarp, a metal lockbox I didn't recognize. I pulled it out. Heavy, no key in sight. But I knew where Robert kept spare keys. In the coffee can on the top shelf, behind the turpentine. The third key fit. Inside the lockbox, papers, lots of them. Financial records going back 30 years. Stock certificates, bonds, life insurance policies. Deeds to property I didn't know we owned. A small piece of land in West Virginia, inherited from Robert's father, apparently worth $40,000 now. And at the bottom, a sealed envelope with my name on it in Robert's handwriting. My hands were shaking as I opened it. Caroline, if you're reading this, something has gone wrong and I'm not there to protect you. I'm writing this after the hospital incident, after we got the settlement money, because I've started to worry. Monica has been asking about our finances more than usual, asking when we plan to enjoy our money and whether we've thought about what happens to everything when we're gone. She's never asked these questions before. I don't want to believe our daughter would hurt us, but I've seen something in her eyes lately. Something that reminds me of her teenage years, when she wanted that car we couldn't afford and didn't speak to us for 6 months. So I'm taking precautions. I've set up a trust that she doesn't know about. It contains most of our liquid assets, about $380,000. You're the sole trustee and beneficiary during your lifetime. Upon your death, it goes to Jessica, but only when she turns 25. Monica can never touch it. The trust documents are with Spencer Walsh. He has instructions to release them to you if you ever need them. The code word is Oakmont, our street name. Just say it to Spencer and he'll know. I also moved our property deed into an LLC, Oakmont Holdings. You're the managing member. Monica can't sell the house without your signature, even if she somehow gets power of attorney. I pray you never need this letter. But if you do, know that I thought about every contingency. I protected you the only way I knew how. And Caroline, don't feel guilty about fighting back. Some people mistake kindness for weakness. Show them the difference. Forever yours, Robert. I read it 3 times. Then I laughed. Actually laughed, alone in my basement at 12:30 in the morning, holding a letter from my dead husband who had apparently anticipated everything. The trust, the LLC, the hidden property. Robert had built me a fortress and I hadn't even known it existed. Monica thought she'd been so clever, planning for over a year, practicing my signature, filing her petitions. But Robert had planned for 7 years. I called Spencer Walsh. Didn't care that it was almost 1 a.m. He answered on the 3rd ring. Caroline, what's wrong? Oakmont, I said. Silence. Then, Jesus, you found Robert's letter. You knew about this? I drafted the documents. Robert made me swear I wouldn't tell you unless you specifically asked. He wanted you to discover it when you needed it most, not before. Spencer's voice changed. How bad is it? Monica's isolated me from everyone I know. She's spread lies about my mental state. Half the town thinks I'm senile. The hearing is in 4 days, and the judge is Greg's uncle. Then it's time, Spencer said. Come to my office first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to dismantle Monica's case piece by piece. And Caroline? Robert was right about one thing. What's that? Some people do mistake kindness for weakness, but they only make that mistake once. I went back upstairs, made myself a cup of tea, sat at the kitchen table where I'd eaten 40 years of meals, and looked at my phone. 27 more messages in Monica's group text. People I'd thought were friends, all expressing sympathy for Monica's burden of dealing with her difficult mother. Not one of them had called me to ask for my side of the story. I deleted the entire thread. Then I opened my email and started typing. To Spencer Walsh. Subject, December 8th. Strategy. Spencer, here's what I want you to do. 4 days until the hearing. 4 days until Monica walked into that courtroom expecting to destroy me. She had no idea what was coming. Spencer's office smelled like leather and old paper, the kind of smell that meant money and power and decades of winning cases. He spread Robert's documents across his mahogany desk like a general planning a battle. The trust is ironclad, he said. $380,000 that Monica can never touch. Robert named you as sole trustee with absolute discretion. Even if a court declared you incompetent, which they won't, the trust has a succession clause. It would go to an independent trustee, not Monica. What about the house? Oakmont Holdings, LLC. You're the managing member. Monica would need your signature, a court order, and an act of God to sell it. And since you're clearly competent, no court will give her that authority. I looked at the deed. Property value listed as $380,000. My home for 38 years, reduced to a number on paper. So she can't take anything. Not legally. Spencer leaned back. But Caroline, we need to do more than defend. We need to destroy her credibility completely. Because if we just win this hearing, she'll try again. People like Monica don't stop until they're forced to stop. What do you suggest? He pulled out a file. I've spent the last 3 days investigating everyone involved. Dr. Raymond Klein, suspended from practice in Michigan 8 years ago for falsifying patient records in an insurance fraud scheme, moved to Ohio, opened a new practice. Monica paid him $5,000 cash for those fake medical records. How do you know that? His receptionist is dating my paralegal's brother. Apparently, Klein has been bragging about his side business helping families with difficult inheritance situations. I felt sick. That's what he called it? That's the polite version. The receptionist recorded him. She's willing to testify if we protect her identity. Spencer opened another folder. Judge Dale Morrison. Greg's uncle, like you suspected. But here's what Monica doesn't know. Morrison is being investigated by the State Judicial Conduct Board. 3 complaints about bias in family cases involving his relatives. If he rules in Monica's favor, it'll trigger an automatic review. Will that stop the hearing? No, but it means Morrison will be careful. He can't afford another ethics complaint. Spencer pulled out more papers. Now here's where it gets interesting. I subpoenaed Monica and Greg's financial records. He handed me a spreadsheet, 40 pages of transactions highlighted in yellow. See this? Monica withdrew $3,000 cash from their joint account on November 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving. The money from under my floorboards. And here. Spencer pointed to another transaction. Greg purchased a $52,000 Rolex on November 1st. Paid cash. Where does a car dealership manager get $52,000 in cash? Gambling? Better, or worse, depending on perspective. Spencer smiled grimly. I hired an investigator. Greg has been running a side business selling cars under the table from the dealership lot, taking deposits, pocketing the money, reporting the cars as test drives. The dealership just hasn't figured it out yet, but they will. How much has he stolen? At least $200,000 over the past year. I stared at the numbers. They're desperate. Completely, which makes them dangerous. Desperate people make mistakes, but they also take bigger risks. Spencer closed the folder. Now here's what I want to do. I want to file a counter petition. For what? Emergency protective order. Financial exploitation of an elderly person. Attempted fraud. Conspiracy to commit theft. We name Monica, Greg, Tanya, Dr. Klein, and anyone else involved. We present all our evidence. We force them to defend themselves instead of attacking you. Won't that make Monica more aggressive? Probably, which is why we're going to do something else first. Spencer handed me a business card. Dr. Sarah Chen, forensic psychiatrist, Harvard-trained. Expert witness in competency cases. I want you to spend tomorrow with her. Complete cognitive evaluation, memory tests, psychological assessment, everything. What if she finds something wrong? She won't, because there's nothing wrong with you. But even if there were, which there isn't, we'd know about it before Monica does. Knowledge is power, Caroline. Surprises lose cases. I took the card. When do I see her? Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Spencer leaned forward. There's one more thing. Jessica. My chest tightened. What about her? She's 16, old enough to have opinions about her living situation. Old enough to testify if she wants to. And based on what you've told me, she's being forced to participate in Monica's plan against her will. I won't drag her into this. You won't have to. The court can appoint a guardian ad litem, a lawyer who represents Jessica's interests, not Monica's or yours. If Jessica tells that lawyer she wants to see you, that she's being manipulated, it destroys Monica's narrative. Monica will never allow it. Monica doesn't get to decide. The judge does. And Judge Morrison, for all his flaws, has a reputation for protecting children's rights. He lost custody of his own daughter in a divorce 20 years ago. It made him sensitive to parental manipulation cases. I thought about Jessica's text. I'm sorry, Grandma. A 16-year-old apologizing for being held hostage. Do it, I said. Request the guardian ad litem. Done. Spencer made a note. Now, the trust money. What do you want to do with it? What do you mean? Robert set it up so you have complete control. You can spend it, invest it, give it away. Whatever you want. I suggest we make some strategic moves. He pulled out a list he'd already prepared. First, I recommend transferring $50,000 to a separate account under the name Ellsworth Family Legacy Trust. Then make Jessica the beneficiary with conditions. She only gets access when she turns 25, and only if she completes college and demonstrates financial responsibility. It shows you're thinking about her future, not hoarding money. Okay. Second, I want you to make a substantial donation to the Akron Legal Aid Society. $50,000, earmarked for elder abuse prevention. We'll time the announcement for the day before the hearing. Makes Monica look even worse trying to rob someone who's actively helping other vulnerable seniors. I smiled. I like that. Third, put $100,000 into an irrevocable annuity. Guarantees you $2,400 a month income for life. Shows you're planning for long-term financial stability, not declining into incompetence. What about the rest? Keep it liquid but protected. We might need it for legal fees if Monica escalates. Or for Jessica, if things go badly and she needs to get away from her mother. I looked at the list. Robert's money, carefully invested and grown over decades, now being weaponized against the daughter who wanted to steal it. There was poetry in that. Do all of it, I said. I'll have the paperwork ready by tomorrow afternoon. I stood to leave, stopped at the door. Spencer, why are you doing all this? These hours, the investigation, everything. This is going to cost more than I can afford to pay. He was quiet for a moment. Robert saved my son's life. What? 15 years ago. My son David was 17. Car accident. Trapped in the vehicle, fire starting. Robert was driving by, saw it happen. He pulled David out 30 seconds before the car exploded. Wouldn't even give us his name. Didn't want credit. But David remembered the truck. Tracked Robert down later to thank him. Spencer's voice got thick. Robert told David, "You don't owe me anything. Just help someone else when you get the chance. David's a firefighter now. Saves people every day." He looked at me directly. "I owe Robert more than money could ever repay. So you're not paying me anything, Caroline. This one's on the house." I left his office with a folder full of documents and a plan that felt like armor. That afternoon, I met Dr. Sarah Chen. She was younger than I expected. Maybe 45. Sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Mrs. Ellsworth, thank you for coming. Call me Caroline." She smiled. "Caroline, Spencer told me about your situation. I want to be clear. I'm here as an independent evaluator. If I find cognitive impairment, I have to report it. But I don't work for your daughter, and I don't work for you. I work for the truth." Fair enough. The evaluation took 4 hours. Memory tests, pattern recognition, mathematical problems, verbal reasoning. She asked me to recall stories she told me 30 minutes earlier, asked me to draw a clock showing 3:15, asked me to spell words backward, asked me to list every word I could think of that started with the letter F in 60 seconds. Then she asked about my life, my marriage, my daughter, my feelings about the hearing. I told her everything. The Thanksgiving dinner, the practice signatures, the stolen cash, Robert's letter, Jessica's forced silence. Dr. Chen listened without interrupting, took notes in neat handwriting. When we finished, she sat back and looked at me. "Caroline, I'm going to be direct. Your cognitive function is exceptional. Your memory scores are in the 98th percentile for your age group. Your reasoning ability is superior. You show no signs of dementia, confusion, or impaired judgment." Relief flooded through me. "So I'm okay. You're more than okay. You're sharper than most people half your age." She closed her notebook. "What you're experiencing is financial abuse combined with systematic social isolation. It's a form of psychological warfare designed to make you doubt yourself. But it's not working, is it?" "No." "Good. Don't let it start." She handed me a sealed envelope. "This is my full report. Spencer will file it with the court. But Caroline, your daughter is going to be very angry when she loses. People like Monica don't accept defeat gracefully. Watch yourself." I drove home as the sun was setting. The house looked different somehow. Not vulnerable anymore. Fortified. Inside, I sat at my kitchen table and called the one number I'd been avoiding. Jessica answered on the first ring. "Grandma." "Hi, sweetheart. I can't talk long. Mom doesn't know I'm calling. I told her I was doing homework." "Jessica, listen to me. I need you to know something. None of this is your fault, and no matter what happens, I love you, okay?" She started crying. "I don't want to live here anymore. Mom makes me lie about you." She makes me say you're confused and scary, but you're not. You've never been anything but good to me. I know, baby. I know. Can I come live with you after this is over? I closed my eyes. We'll figure something out, I promise. But right now, I need you to be brave for just a little bit longer. Can you do that? Yes. I love you, Jessica. I love you too, Grandma. She hung up fast. Probably heard Monica coming. I sat in the dark kitchen for a long time. 3 days until the hearing. 3 days until I walked into that courtroom with Spencer, with Dr. Chen's report, with Robert's trust documents, with evidence of Monica's fraud. 3 days until I showed my daughter what happened when you mistook patience for weakness. I went to bed early, slept better than I had in weeks. Tomorrow, the real work began. The Cuyahoga County Courthouse smelled like floor wax and broken families. Monica arrived with an entourage. Greg in a cheap suit that didn't fit right. Tanya clutching a purse like it was a life preserver. A lawyer I didn't recognize, young, nervous, carrying a briefcase that looked brand new, and Dr. Raymond Klein, sweating in a blue blazer despite the December cold. Monica saw me and Spencer sitting on the bench outside courtroom 4B. Her face went hard. Mother. Not Caroline anymore. Back to mother, like she was trying to reclaim some authority. Monica. You didn't have to make this difficult. I'm not the one who made it difficult. Her lawyer stepped forward. Mrs. Ellsworth, I'm Martin Prescott. I represent your daughter. I hope we can resolve this matter quickly for everyone's benefit. Spencer stood. Spencer Walsh, representing Mrs. Ellsworth. And I hope so too, Mr. Prescott. Though I suspect your client might want to withdraw her petition once she sees what we're filing today. Prescott's smile faltered. Filing? Spencer handed him a thick folder. Counter petition, financial exploitation, attempted fraud, conspiracy. We're naming your client, her husband, Dr. Klein, and several others. You'll also find subpoenas for financial records, witness depositions, and a few other items of interest. I watched Monica's face as Prescott opened the folder, watched the color drain, watched her hands start to shake. This is ridiculous, she said, but her voice cracked. You can't. We can. We did. See you inside. Judge Dale Morrison looked exactly like his nephew Greg. Same weak chin, same small eyes. But when he looked at me, I saw something Greg didn't have. Intelligence and wariness. This is a competency hearing, Morrison said, reading from his notes. Petitioner Monica Farrell claims her mother, Caroline Ellsworth, age 66, is no longer capable of managing her affairs due to cognitive decline. Mrs. Farrell seeks appointment as guardian with full authority over her mother's person and property. He looked up. How does the respondent plead? Spencer stood. Your Honor, Mrs. Ellsworth contests this petition entirely. We assert that this is not a competency issue but an attempted financial exploitation. We've filed a counter-petition and request this hearing be expanded to address criminal matters. Morrison frowned. Criminal matters? Yes, Your Honor. We have evidence of forgery, fraud, and conspiracy to commit theft. We also request the court appoint a guardian ad litem for the minor child Jessica Farrell, age 16, who we believe is being coerced by her mother. That's absurd! Monica stood up. Prescott pulled her back down. Morrison banged his gavel once. Mrs. Farrell, you'll have your chance to speak. Mr. Prescott, does your client wish to proceed? Prescott looked at Monica. She nodded, jaw tight. We do, Your Honor. Then let's begin. Mr. Prescott, call your first witness. We call Dr. Raymond Klein. Klein took the stand like he was walking to an execution. Prescott led him through the basics. His credentials, his practice, his examination of me on September 15th. And what did you conclude, Dr. Klein? Mrs. Ellsworth showed clear signs of early-stage dementia. Memory loss, confusion, inability to manage daily tasks. And you documented this? Yes, in a detailed medical report. Spencer stood. Objection, Your Honor. Mrs. Ellsworth has never met Dr. Klein, never been to his office, never been his patient. Morrison leaned forward. Dr. Klein? Klein's face went red. I examined her. September 15th. Spencer walked to the projection screen. Your Honor, may I present evidence? Proceed. Spencer clicked a remote. The screen lit up with a photograph. Me, standing in front of the Akron Public Library, surrounded by children. The date stamp read, September 15th, 2024, 10:47 a.m. This is Mrs. Ellsworth on September 15th at 10:47 a.m., leading her regular Tuesday morning story time. She has 37 witnesses, including the head librarian. Click. Another photo. This is Mrs. Ellsworth at 1:15 p.m. the same day, having lunch with her attorney Spencer Walsh. That's me, at Giovanni's restaurant on Market Street. We discussed her will and estate planning. I have the receipts. Click. Another image. Dr. Klein's appointment calendar, with my name penciled in at 9 a.m. Dr. Klein claims he examined Mrs. Ellsworth at 9 a.m., but Mrs. Ellsworth was at the library, so either Dr. Klein examined someone who wasn't there, or he falsified this report. Click. A bank deposit slip. $5,000, cash, deposited into Dr. Klein's account on September 16th. One day after this phantom examination. The deposit was made by Monica Farrell. The courtroom went silent. Dr. Klein, Morrison said quietly, did you fabricate this medical report? Klein looked at Monica. She looked at Prescott. Prescott looked like he wanted to disappear. I want to invoke my Fifth Amendment right, Klein said. Noted. You're dismissed. And Dr. Klein? Don't leave town. The district attorney's office will want to speak with you. Prescott stood. Your Honor, we weren't aware of any irregularities with— Sit down, Mr. Prescott. Monica grabbed Prescott's arm, whispered something urgent. He nodded reluctantly. Your Honor, in light of this information, we'd like to call a different witness. Jessica Farrell. No, I said, before I could stop myself. Morrison looked at me. Mrs. Ellsworth? Don't make her do this. She's 16. She's caught in the middle. This isn't fair to her. Monica smiled. See, Your Honor? Even my mother knows Jessica will tell the truth about her confusion and— The courtroom door slammed open. 2 uniformed police officers walked in. Behind them, Jessica. And behind Jessica, a woman in a gray suit carrying a briefcase. Your Honor, the woman said. I'm Detective Lisa Warren, Akron PD. I apologize for the interruption, but we need to place Gregory Farrell under arrest. Everyone turned to look at Greg. He was already standing, trying to edge toward the side exit. Mr. Farrell, Morrison said. Sit down. What's the charge? Prescott asked. Embezzlement, fraud, theft from his employer. Outstanding warrant issued this morning. Warren walked toward Greg. Mr. Farrell, you have the right to remain silent. Greg bolted. He made it 3 steps before one of the officers tackled him. They went down hard. Greg's head hit the wooden bench with a crack that echoed through the courtroom. Jessica started crying. Monica stood frozen, watching her husband being handcuffed on the floor, blood running from his nose onto the polished courthouse floor. Mrs. Farrell, Morrison said, do you wish to continue? Monica looked at Prescott, at Tanya, who was crying, at Jessica, who was staring at her with something that looked like disgust, at me. I think I need to speak with my attorney. That's probably wise. We'll recess for 30 minutes. In the hallway, Jessica ran to me, threw her arms around me and sobbed into my shoulder. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry, Grandma. Shh. It's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. The woman in the gray suit approached. Mrs. Ellsworth? I'm Catherine Mills. The court appointed me as guardian ad litem for Jessica about an hour ago. Spencer Walsh filed an emergency motion this morning. Thank you. Jessica told me everything. About being forced to avoid you. About the rehearsed statements. About finding her mother practicing your signature. Mills looked at Jessica. She's very brave. Jessica pulled back, wiping her eyes. Can I live with you, Grandma? I don't want to go back. We'll figure it out, sweetheart, I promise. When we returned to the courtroom, Monica was alone. Prescott stood beside her, but Tanya was gone. Greg was gone. Dr. Klein was gone. Monica looked small suddenly. Defeated. Your Honor, Prescott said. My client wishes to withdraw her petition. On what grounds? On the grounds that we made an error in judgment. Morrison looked at Monica for a long time. Mrs. Farrell, do you understand what you've done here today? Monica nodded, not meeting his eyes. You attempted to defraud your own mother. You falsified medical records. You conspired with a corrupt doctor. You manipulated your daughter. And you wasted this court's time. He leaned forward. I'm denying your petition and issuing a restraining order. You are not to contact Mrs. Ellsworth or come within 500 feet of her property. Violation will result in immediate arrest. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. We're adjourned. 8 months later, I stood in my living room and looked at what it had become. The furniture was pushed against the walls, folding chairs arranged in neat rows, a projector screen set up where Robert's reading chair used to be. 23 elderly women sat waiting, some with notepads, others with nervous hands clutched in their laps. Welcome to Financial Rights for Seniors, I said. My name is Caroline Ellsworth, and I'm here to teach you how to protect yourselves from the people who are supposed to love you. Jessica sat in the back row, laptop open, taking notes. She'd been doing this every Saturday for 6 months now, part of her community service hours for National Honor Society, but also because she wanted to. Today, we're covering power of attorney, I continued. How to grant it, how to revoke it, and most importantly, how to know when someone is abusing it. Mrs. Patterson from the library raised her hand. What if it's your own child? Especially if it's your own child. I clicked the remote. The screen showed a sample power of attorney document with sections highlighted in red. These are the danger zones. Phrases like immediate authority or irrevocable. You want specific limits, specific purposes, and a clear expiration date. Never give anyone unlimited access to your life. After class, while Jessica helped fold chairs, Mrs. Patterson approached me. Caroline, I owe you an apology. When Monica called me about you, I believed her. I should have asked you directly. You weren't the only one. Still, I'm sorry. She looked around the room. This is important work you're doing. How many people have you helped now? 247 in the past 6 months. 12 of them discovered active fraud. 4 filed criminal charges. 1 woman got her house back from a son who'd forged deed transfer documents. You saved them. I gave them information. They saved themselves. Mrs. Patterson left. Jessica finished stacking the last chair. Ready for lunch, Grandma? Let me grab my purse. We went to the diner on Market Street, the one where Robert used to take me every Sunday after church. Jessica ordered a burger. I ordered soup. I got my acceptance letter from Ohio State, Jessica said. And? Full ride. Academic scholarship plus the endowment you set up. The endowment I'd set up anonymously. $50,000 for first-generation college students studying accounting or business. Jessica had applied never knowing her grandmother was the donor. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. I wouldn't have made it without you. She picked at her fries. Have you heard from Mom? I had. 1 letter, 3 months ago, forwarded through Spencer's office. Mother, I'm writing because my therapist says I need to take accountability. So here it is. I was wrong. Wrong to try to steal from you. Wrong to manipulate Jessica. Wrong to think I was entitled to what you and Dad built. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know that I'm working at Meadowbrook now. Reception desk, minimum wage. $8 an hour answering phones at the same nursing home I wanted to put you in. The residents know who I am. They know what I tried to do. Some of them won't speak to me. 1 woman spits in my direction every time I walk past. Her daughter tried to do the same thing to her that I tried to do to you. I sit at that desk 8 hours a day and think about what kind of person I became. What kind of mother? What kind of daughter? Jessica won't return my calls. I don't blame her. I just want her to know that I'm trying to be better, even if it's too late. Monica. She wrote me, I told Jessica. Apologizing. Do you believe her? I don't know, but she's working at Meadowbrook. the place she wanted to lock me in. That feels like the right kind of punishment. Good. Jessica's voice was hard, then softer. Is it weird that I miss her sometimes? Even after everything? No. She's still your mother. Love doesn't just stop because someone betrays you. It just gets more complicated. Do you think I should call her? That's up to you. But not yet. Give yourself time to heal first. And Jessica? If you do decide to have a relationship with her again, do it on your terms, not hers. We finished lunch, drove past Monica's old rental house in Fairlawn. There was a foreclosure sign in the yard. The grass was overgrown. Someone had spray-painted "thief" on the garage door. Jessica looked away. At home, I found Spencer's message on my machine. Caroline, quick update. Greg took a plea deal. 7 years at Mansfield Correctional. Dr. Klein lost his medical license and got 3 years probation for medical fraud. Tanya called. She wants to apologize in person. Let me know if you want me to arrange it. I called him back. Tell Tanya I accept her apology, but I don't need to hear it. She made her choice. Some bridges, once burned, stay burned. Understood. One more thing. The prosecutor wants to know if you'll testify at Monica's sentencing hearing next month. Sentencing for what? She took a plea deal too. Financial exploitation of elderly person, fraud, conspiracy. Avoided jail time in exchange for 3 years probation, mandatory community service, and restitution. She has to pay you back the $3,000 she stole from under your floorboards. 12 monthly payments of $250. $250, less than I spent on groceries. Tell the prosecutor I'll be there. That evening, Jessica and I went through the trust documents. Robert's Ellsworth Family Legacy Trust had grown. Good investments, careful management. It would be worth over $400,000 by the time Jessica turned 25. What if I mess it up? She asked. What if I turn into mom? You won't. How do you know? Because you're already asking that question. Monica never did. I showed her the conditions Robert had written into the trust. College degree, 2 years of employment history, financial literacy course, character references from 3 non-family members. He made you earn it, I said. Not because he didn't trust you, but because he knew easy money makes weak people. Your grandfather was a wise man. Jessica traced her fingers over Robert's signature on the bottom of the document. She'd never met him. He died when she was 9, before Monica started pulling her away from me. I wish I'd known him better. You're getting to know him now, through the things he left behind, through the protections he built, through the lessons he wanted you to learn. I closed the folder. That's a kind of knowing, too. Later, alone in my kitchen, I made tea and sat at the table where this had all started 8 months ago. The table where Monica had handed me that Meadowbrook brochure. Where I'd served Thanksgiving dinner and smiled when she told me she'd stolen my money. The house was quiet, but not empty. Never empty. I could hear Jessica upstairs, video chatting with friends about college plans. Could smell the cookies we'd baked earlier cooling on the counter. Could see through the window the new security cameras Spencer had installed. The motion sensor lights, the reinforced locks. My phone buzzed. Text from Spencer. Judge Morrison resigned today. Ethics investigation found he showed bias in 7 cases involving family members. Your case was cited specifically. They're reviewing all his rulings. You didn't just save yourself, Caroline. You saved dozens of other people from corrupt judges and predatory family members. You should be proud. I set the phone down and looked at the framed photo on the counter. New one, from last month. Me and Jessica at her National Honor Society induction. Her in her white dress, me in my good blue suit. Both of us smiling real smiles. Behind us in the photo, barely visible, Monica, standing at the back of the auditorium. She'd come but hadn't approached, had stayed just long enough to watch her daughter receive awards, then left. Jessica had seen her, hadn't waved, but hadn't looked away either. Small steps. Maybe, eventually, toward something that resembled forgiveness, or at least understanding. But that was Jessica's journey, not mine. Mine was finished. I'd protected what Robert built. saved my granddaughter from her mother's mistakes, created something good from something terrible. In my locked filing cabinet upstairs, the signed confession from Monica, the restraining order, the trust documents, the deed to my house, now in an LLC that no one could touch, Robert's letter, carefully preserved in a plastic sleeve, and in the basement, in Robert's old lockbox, $3,000 in cash. $250 deposited every month for a year. Monica's restitution, every penny accounted for. I would never spend it, would never donate it, would keep it forever as a reminder. Some lessons cost exactly $3,000, and they're worth every cent. I finished my tea, locked the doors. 3 locks, just like Robert would have wanted. Upstairs, Jessica called out, "Good night, Grandma Care." "Good night, sweetheart." Grandma Care. She'd started calling me that 6 months ago, her way of reclaiming something Monica had taken. I turned off the lights and went to bed in the house I'd protected, in the life I'd fought for, in the silence I'd earned. Some people mistake kindness for weakness. They only make that mistake once.